I spot Tang locking herself inside Procurement Director Sue's office, fully confirming their corrupt partnership. This time I won't rush to confront. I'll document every single crime they commit. The second warm plastic water cup hits my palm, cold phantom frost creeps across my skin. I'm yanked back to the night I froze to death in the warehouse walk-in freezer, trapped at minus 24 degrees after 2 male coworkers threw me in for daring to turn on the AC during a 42 degrees Celsius heatwave. Tang, the self-proclaimed heir to a generations-old Chinese medicine lineage, stood outside the door faking remorse while quietly celebrating she'd gotten rid of the only person who dared question her grift. I blink hard, refocusing on the open plan office. Every window is floor-to-ceiling glass, no blinds drawn, sunlight baking the space until it's hotter than an oven. Tang's long black hair falls past her waist as she grins, passing steaming hot water to every middle-aged female coworker, her tone honeyed, practiced from months of manipulating the team. Ladies, summer's no time for cold air. Wind toxins seep into your bones if you blast AC. All those winter aches will stick with you forever. Hot water flushes every toxin out through sweat. Authentic ancestral therapy, passed down from my grandfather's clinic. Lee, a 50-something admin assistant, nods fervently, chugging the boiling liquid like it's holy medicine. My shoulder pain's already fading, thanks to your advice, Tang. I used to blast the unit every afternoon. I had no idea I was hurting my own body. I study each face around the desk to map out everyone's true motives, just like I couldn't last life. The older women cling to her fake medical wisdom because they crave simple health fixes they don't have to pay a doctor for. The young single guys side with her purely because she's conventionally pretty, eating up every word she says, without a shred of critical thought. Intern He Huan, new to the team, sweats through her uniform already, staring longingly at the locked central AC panel, but too timid to speak up. Last life, I'd snapped here, frustrated watching the company waste thousands on Tang's overpriced branded bottled water, $88 a barrel, a product she exclusively sold through side deals with Procurement Sue. I'd marched over and flipped the AC breaker without consulting anyone, triggering a screaming fight with Tang that snowballed into my fatal punishment. That mistake cost me my life. This loop, I play the compliant sheep until I've collected ironclad proof of their fraud. I tilt my head, smile wide and performative, holding the cup up like a trophy for the whole room to see. Tang, you're genuinely such a kind soul to share this miracle water with all of us. I've been suffering from constant joint stiffness for years. I need to order a few barrels straight to my apartment tonight. What's her bulk discount for coworkers? Tang's eyes light up instantly, her entire demeanor shifting from gentle wellness guru to greedy sales rep. She scribbles down addresses on a small notebook as coworkers flood her with requests, every woman in the office signing up for recurring deliveries without a second thought. I watch her tuck the notebook into her crossbody bag and slip straight into Sue's closed office, twisting the deadbolt shut behind her. This is the first critical piece of evidence I needed to verify their collusion. Last life, I only suspected they were colluding to siphon company's supply budget. Now I watch them lock the door to hide their kickback negotiations, and a cold, calculated calm settles over me. I'm no longer the hot-headed woman who confronts corruption without backup. I grab a tiny portable voice recorder from my purse, tucking it inside the lining of my blazer before slipping downstairs to the convenience store on the ground floor. I buy a compact silent personal desk fan, small enough to hide under my workstation out of sight of Tang's patrols. The air inside the office is already thick, sticky with a mix of body sweat, cigarette smoke from the male staff, and the metallic tang of the cheap bottled water Tang pushes nonstop. I slide back to my desk, tucking the fan under my chair and plugging it into an unseen wall outlet, running it on low so no one notices the cool air drifting on my calves. Minutes later, He Huan wanders over, blotting rivers of sweat off her forehead with oil-absorbing tissues, her voice shaky with exhaustion. Chinjia, can I go flip the AC on? It's unbearable in here. I'm dizzy from the heat already. Before I can respond, Lee cuts her off sharply, crossing her arms over her chest in judgment. Kids these days can't stand a little warmth. Tang knows way more about health than any of us. Cold air ruins your internal organs. Peace cools your heart. Stop being so spoiled. He Huan's eyes flick to me, silently begging for backup. The exact same scene that unfolded last life, when I jumped to her defense and sparked Tang's rage. This time, I hand her a pack of facial tissues, tone placating to avoid drawing Tang's attention. Listen to Lee for now, kid. Finish your daily reports first. The heat eases off around sunset. The intern slumps back to her station, defeated, and I resume logging every interaction on my hidden notes app, timestamping every time Tang pushes her water product or preaches her unregulated summer detox nonsense. An hour later, the CEO strides onto the 17th floor, suit soaked through at the neck within 10 steps of walking into the unventilated space. He glances around the sweltering room, confused. Why is the AC shut off? Where's Sue, the procurement lead? I told facilities to keep cooling running full tilt this heat wave. The company doesn't skimp on electricity costs. Several male coworkers scramble to the breaker panel, rushing to turn the unit on the second the CEO gives the order. A faint collective sigh ripples across the office as cold air circulates for the first time all week. I watch each person's micro-expressions closely. Every single staff member is secretly relieved, too scared to stand up to Tang on their own without upper management backing them. The CEO strides towards Sue's office door, and it swings open mid-step, Tang stepping out with flushed cheeks, her blouse slightly rumpled, eyes soft and demure as she ducks her head to avoid direct eye contact with leadership. Sue trails behind her, tugging at the waistband of his oversized slacks, the telltale flush of a secret tryst staining his cheeks. Hot in here, XU, and no reason to cut cooling to save pennies, the CEO chides casually, walking toward the elevator with his old college friend. Sue nods awkwardly, following him up to the executive floor to discuss department budgets. The second the elevator doors seal shut, Tang's sweet, gentle persona vanishes completely. She plants herself in the middle of the aisle, voice sharp and accusatory as she glares at the staff who turned on the AC. Who gave permission to blast cold air? You'll all end up with chronic joint inflammation once autumn rolls around. Are you prepared to foot your own hospital bills? The co-workers who just hit the breaker rush to shut the unit down again, apologizing profusely to appease her. The older female employees echo her talking points, parroting her fake medical claims without fact-checking a single word. I lean back in my chair, recorder still active under my jacket, capturing every manipulative line she uses to control the team. Tang pauses, a smug smirk tugging at her lips as she drops another bombshell on the whole department. Starting tomorrow noon, we're taking a 1 hour shorter lunch break. Everyone's coming up to the open rooftop for sun therapy, maximum toxin elimination under peak midday sun. He Huan's face goes pale instantly, stammering out a weak excuse. Tang Jia, my period starting tomorrow, heavy cramps, I can't sit in direct 43-degree heat for an hour. Tang's smile turns icy, a quiet threat layered into every syllable. Cramps are exactly the cold toxins building up inside you. This sun treatment's the only permanent fix. Also, your internship approval form needs Sue's signature at the end of the month. Don't skip the group wellness sessions, or your evaluation might not go as planned. The intern's shoulders slump, no choice left but to comply, and I log the blackmail line into my evidence folder. Last life, the rooftop sun exposure ritual hadn't happened. My decision to hold back instead of fighting the AC battle altered the timeline, a critical butterfly effect I need to track closely. I wait until Tang's distracted rounding up her loyal followers before slipping away to the executive office to schedule a private one-on-one meeting with the CEO, armed with the first batch of recorded audio proof of Tang and Sue's kickback scheme. As I exit the executive office after my closed-door conversation with leadership, I draft a full written timeline of Tang's racketeering and workplace manipulation, saving every audio clip and timestamp note to an encrypted cloud drive. I already know the rooftop mandatory sun session will lead to mass heatstroke tomorrow, but unlike last life's reckless intervention, I hold back, letting Tang fully execute her reckless plan while I capture every damaging moment on hidden recording devices, ready to unleash all evidence the second someone suffers irreversible harm. I discover Tang's herbal detox pills contain unregulated, overdosed herbal extracts banned by local medical regulators. The next afternoon, the weather alert blares across every office screen, surface temperatures hitting 66 degrees Celsius, a public safety advisory warning all citizens to avoid unshaded midday outdoor exposure entirely. Tang marches through the workspace before noon, patrolling each desk to inspect everyone's rooftop gear, picking apart every item that blocks sunlight. She yanks a $1,000 brand UV protective jacket straight off Lee's chair, tossing it onto her own desk to hoard it for personal use, then pinches a young male coworker's cheek when he grabs a parasol, mocking him for being unmasculine for fearing sun damage. Lee laughs it off, still completely brainwashed by her fake ancestral medicine shtick, gushing about how knowledgeable Tang is for the whole team to hear. I watch the group file out toward the stairwell, all resigned to mandatory torture, while I pull out the CEO's signed remote work approval slip I secured yesterday morning, pre-planning my escape before the rooftop disaster unfolds. Tang locks eyes with me the second she spots I'm not lined up with the rest, her expression sharpening with suspicion as she strides over to block my path. Chunjia, you can't skip the group sun therapy. It's mandatory wellness for the entire department. She pulls a small black plastic pill bottle out of her purse, twisting the cap open to reveal pitch black round pellets, pushing them toward my mouth. These are my family's proprietary herbal formulas. Take one before you head up to the roof to boost your toxin flush. I let one pill rest under my tongue without swallowing it, feigning compliance to avoid triggering her immediate suspicion. I wish I could stay for the session, Tang, but the CEO assigned urgent cross-branch travel paperwork I need to finish from home today. He personally signed off on my remote shift. Tang can't argue with written executive approval, her jaw tight with frustration as I grab my bag and head for the elevator. I drive to a nearby air-conditioned cafe, pulling a pill out from under my tongue and sealing it inside a plastic evidence bag, labeling it with the exact time and location Tang handed it to me. I pull up public medical regulatory databases on my laptop to cross-reference the ingredients she claimed were in the ancestral formula, and that's when the mid-story twist hits hard. Every ingredient listed on Tang's verbal sales pitch is misrepresented. The concentrated herbal extracts inside the pill carry official public safety warnings for overdosage risks, linked to heat exhaustion and organ damage when consumed during extreme high temperatures, exactly the environment she's forcing the whole team to sit in on the rooftop. I snap dozens of photos of the regulatory warnings, adding the files to my encrypted evidence library before scrolling through the company internal group chat for live updates from the 17th floor. 30 minutes pass before frantic texts flood the team chat, multiple coworkers panicking as they describe severe dizziness and nausea from the unshaded sun. A panicked message pops up first. Lee threw up all over the rooftop concrete, unable to regulate her body temperature after an hour of baking under direct sunlight. I close my laptop and drive back to the office building, climbing the stairs to the rooftop slowly to avoid rushing into the chaos and ruining my documentation timeline. When I push the rooftop metal door open, the scene is horrific. Half the team is slumped on the hot concrete pavement, faces flushed cherry red, gasping for air, Lee curled on the ground surrounded by puddles of vomit. Tang stands dead center of the group, calm and unfazed as she spins her gaslighting narrative for everyone within earshot. Don't panic. This is just your body purging years of accumulated cold toxins through nausea. Keep sitting in the sun another 20 minutes. The discomfort fades once all waste exits your system. Hee-Hwan spots me the second I step onto the roof, scrambling to her feet to beg for us all to head back downstairs. The CEO's been asking where our whole department went. We need to leave right now before we all collapse. Tang's gaze snaps to me, immediately switching back to her soft, friendly public persona, gesturing for me to join the sun therapy circle. Perfect timing, Chinjia. You missed the first half hour. Make up the session now before you leave for your remote work. I hold up the CEO's signed remote work form, keeping my tone neutral so the hidden voice recorder clipped to my blazer captures every word she says. I've got travel deadlines to hit offsite. I can't stay exposed in this heat. I'll head back down to finish my paperwork at home. Tang's fake smile drops, glancing at Lee's unconscious frame on the concrete floor but refusing to call emergency services, still focused on pushing her herbal pill product to anyone who's still conscious. I don't stop to administer first aid last life, watching them all suffer silently out of lingering resentment for how they abandoned me in the freezer. But this time, my motives shift entirely as I stare at Lee's unresponsive body. I'm no longer just seeking revenge for my own wrongful death. I'm documenting every reckless, negligent choice Tang makes that endangers human life. Each mistake a separate count of endangerment I can submit to corporate HR and local health regulators later. I quietly pull out my phone and snap high-resolution photos of the heat-stricken staff, the unshaded rooftop surface, and Tang's unregulated pill bottle sitting on a metal folding table beside her. I leave the rooftop without intervening further, driving home to my air-conditioned apartment and logging every visual and audio evidence point into my secure storage folder. Hours later, the company-wide group chat erupts with breaking news. Multiple ambulances pulled up to the office lobby, stretchers carrying heat stroke victims out of the building, footage shared by other department staff circulating fast through every work social group. One anonymous coworker posts a cell phone video of the ambulance arrival, Tang walking alongside the CEO and Sue, putting on a tearful, grief-stricken performance to shift all blame away from herself. I warned everyone not to overexert themselves in midday heat. I couldn't force them to leave the rooftop early. I sat out there with all of them too. Multiple naive outside coworkers jumped to defend her in the chat, writing off the mass heat stroke as the older staff's own fault for ignoring simple safety logic. I read every comment silently, fully aware Tang's masterful manipulation will let her escape immediate corporate punishment unless I bring my full dossier of audio, photographic, and regulatory evidence forward to leadership. I book a 2-day business transfer ticket to the regional branch office overnight, planning to physically distance myself from the fallout while Tang scrambles to fabricate false witness statements to frame me for the rooftop heat disaster. I know without hard proof, Tang will twist every narrative, pin the entire mass hospitalization on my influence over the team, and I prepare every piece of evidence to dismantle her lies the second I return to headquarters the following morning. I spend the full 2 days away at the branch office, not once checking the internal department group chat. My every move is planned. I need physical separation to avoid being roped into Tang's on-the-spot scapegoating before I can lay out all my evidence. I don't turn off my recorder, don't lock my cloud drive, and every regulatory document about her illegal herbal pills is sorted into a labeled folder ready to pull up at a moment's notice. The night before I head back to headquarters, I run through every possible angle Tang might use to shift blame. Last life, I was caught off guard by her quick, tearful public acting. This time, I predict every lie she'll manufacture and build counterproof for each one ahead of time. When I walk through the 17th floor office door the next morning, the first thing I notice is the blast of cold AC blowing through the whole space. No one's enforcing Tang's no cool air rule anymore. Half the team still recovering in hospital beds, and the remaining staff move around with heavy, guilty energy, none of them daring to meet my eyes. I pull out my chair and boot up my work laptop, ready to sort archived recordings, but Tang storms over before I can open a single file. She slams her palm hard down on my keyboard, sending it sliding off the edge of the desk. The plastic casing cracks against the tile floor, keys scattering everywhere, her face twisted into a ferocious, fake mask of sorrow and anger all at once. Chunjia, how can you sit here calmly working while half our coworkers are fighting for their lives in hospital? Li and Xiao's vitals still aren't stable, and this whole mess started because of you. I lean down to pick up the broken keyboard slowly, no rush to snap back at her. I keep the lapel voice recorder running hidden under my blazer collar, every syllable she utters captured crystal clear. What exactly started it? I never suggested anyone go up to the rooftop. Tang cuts me off instantly, raising her voice loud enough for every remaining coworker to hear, drawing all eyes onto our standoff. Don't play dumb. You are the one egging everyone on to skip work for sun therapy. You told us all heat detox was harmless, then bailed, and left us to suffer the consequences. How can you be this cold-hearted? I was about to respond when loud, chaotic footsteps thundered down the office hallway. A crowd of middle-aged men and women flood through the glass door. These are the injured employees' family members, their faces red and swollen from crying, voices sharp with unbridled grief and rage. One man steps to the front of the mob, pointing a trembling finger directly at me and Tang. Which one of you forced my wife to bake in 65-degree rooftop heat till she collapsed? The hospital said her heat damage might leave permanent organ issues. Tang reacts faster than I can blink. She spins around, grabs my upper arm roughly, and shoves my body forward hard into the center of the angry crowd, using my frame as a human buffer between herself and the grieving relatives. Her voice trembles with manufactured despair as she throws all fault onto me for the mob to hear. It's her. It's Jinjia, who pushed all of us to go up there. I tried to warn everyone the sun was too brutal, but she wouldn't listen to a word I said. Now people are hurt, and she acts like nothing's wrong. A woman from the crowd surges forward without hesitation, yanking hard at my hair before landing a stinging open palm slap across my cheek. The metallic tang of blood fills my mouth instantly, and before I can steady myself, multiple pairs of fists and feet rain down on my shoulders, ribs, and calves. Each blow lands sharp and heavy. The crowd's grief has curdled into blind fury, all of it directed solely at me thanks to Tang's quick manipulation. I curl my body inward to shield my head and vital organs, never lashing out or shouting back. Any retaliation would only give Tang more ammunition to paint me as an aggressive villain. I keep the recorder active under my clothes the whole time, every scream, every accusation, every fake sob from Tang fully captured on audio. After several minutes of unrelenting blows, loud uniform shouts cut through the chaos. The building security team rushes in to form a human wall separating me from the mob. Two female officers stepping forward to help me stand upright, brushing dust off my torn blouse and checking my swollen cheekbone. I'm covered in bruises, my lips split open, my arms lined with scratch marks from the crowd's fingernails, but my voice stays steady when I speak to the police who arrived alongside security. Officers, I have full audio recordings, lab test evidence on Tang's unregulated herbal pills, time-stamped photos of her forcing mandatory rooftop exposure, and proof of her kickback scheme with Procurement Director Sue. None of this disaster originated from me. Tang doesn't flinch for a second at my words. She swivels toward the family crowd again, putting on a shaky, tearful performance, her shoulders heaving like she's overcome with guilt. She's just making excuses to escape responsibility. All the group chat logs prove she encouraged the Sun session. Even 2 new interns told HR and pressured us all to comply. This is the mid-story twist I'd anticipated the night before. She didn't just verbally slander me. She altered screenshots of our work group chat, erasing her own orders and pasting my username onto every line about rooftop therapy. She'd also slipped cash to 2 brand new temp hires to sign false witness statements for HR, claiming I'd coerced the team into enduring extreme heat. Sue waddles over through the crowd, his bulk pushing past grieving relatives to stand beside Tang, his tone sharp and threatening as he glares down at my battered frame. Chen, you're a long-tenured employee. You should take accountability for this mess Tang's been distraught over for days. If you refuse to own up, the company will have no choice but to terminate your employment immediately. I tilt my head at him, every word calm and deliberate for the recorder. Terminate me for what crime I didn't commit? All the evidence I hold ties Tang and your supply-side kickback racket, plus her negligent endangerment of every staff member who got hospitalized. Tang lets out a shrill cry, throwing herself toward a concrete support pillar like she's about to bash her skull open in a dramatic suicide attempt. Sue catches her at the last second, wrapping his arms around her waist and glaring at me with unbridled hostility, his voice loud enough for every family member and police officer present to hear. Stop tormenting Tang. She's a young, kind girl who only cared about everyone's health, unlike you, who acts cold and reckless and put dozens of people in hospital beds. Tang buries her face into Sue's chest, sobbing loudly while he rubs her back comfortingly, the pair putting on a nauseating public display of closeness for everyone to witness. I note the way Sue's wedding ring is entirely absent from his left hand, proof he's hiding his long-term marriage from his office affair with Tang, another layer of corruption I can add to my evidence file. The police motion for Tang, Sue, and me to move into a closed conference room for private questioning to calm the agitated mob outside. Once the heavy door shuts behind us, Tang drops all her fake tears and gentle demeanor instantly, her expression hard and malicious as she corners me against the table. Now it's just the 3 of us, no audience to perform for. You'd better confess to everything, and I'll talk Sue into giving her family a decent cash settlement to make up for all this trouble. I cross my bruised arms over my chest, unfazed by her thinly veiled bribery threat. Confess to crimes I never committed? There's nothing I need to own up to here. Tang leans in close, lowering her voice to a menacing whisper only my recorder can pick up clearly, every ugly truth spilling out without her filtering a single word. Even if you dig up proof, who's going to believe you? All the injured staff are too scared to cross me and Sue. Their job security's on the line if they speak the truth. That in turn, He-Huan's already too traumatized to take sides, and the rest of the team will keep quiet to avoid retaliation. A cold wave of revulsion washes over me as I listen to her nonchalant disregard for multiple people's permanent physical damage. She views mass heat stroke, organ injury, even potential fatalities as nothing more than a minor inconvenience to cover up her illegal water and pill sales operation. I stare her dead in the eyes, storing every self-incriminating line she just spoke securely on my encrypted audio file. Tang grows impatient with my silence, slamming her palm against the conference table and demanding I follow her outside to confess to the crowd of angry families. I pretend to cave to her pressure, slowly rising from my chair while slipping the hidden voice recorder out of my inner blazer pocket and palming it discreetly in my grasp. I know the moment I play this recording aloud for police, leadership, and every grieving family member, her entire fabricated frame-up story will collapse completely, but I hold off, waiting for the perfect moment to unleash all irrefutable evidence at once. I rise slowly from the conference chair, my whole body still throbbing from the punches and scratches the angry families landed minutes before. Tang's eyes light up the second she sees me stand, convinced I've surrendered to her coercion, ready to drag me out to take all blame for the rooftop heatstroke disaster in front of everyone waiting in the hallway. Finally, you see sense. Come out with me, admit everything, and I'll make sure Sue compensates your family properly, she sneers, stepping aside to gesture toward the conference room door. Sue leans against the wall behind her, arms folded, wearing a smug, threatening expression. He's fully confident his position as procurement director will shield them from any repercussions, no matter what accusations I throw their way. I don't move toward the door. Instead, I lift my hand, opening the voice recorder I'd concealed inside my blazer lining the entire time. The device's speaker hums faintly at first, then Tang's cold, unguarded whisper from just now blares loud and clear through the room. Even if you dig up proof, who's going to believe you? All the injured staff are too scared to cross me and Sue. Their job security's on the line. Those hospital injuries are just a small price to keep our water and pill business running smoothly. Tang's face drains of all color the second her own voice echoes off the walls. Her smug confidence evaporates in a split second, mouth hanging open in stunned panic, completely caught off guard by the hidden recording she never knew existed. Sue's posture stiffens sharply too. He'd only heard her threaten me in the moment, never imagined every self-incriminating word was fully captured. Before either of them can lunge forward to snatch the recorder out of my grip, I step back toward the conference door and swing it wide open. Every grieving family member, to uniformed police officers, the CEO and HR director all crowd into the doorway, every pair of eyes locked on the small recording device in my palm. I tap the playback button again, letting the full audio play on loop for everyone to hear. I don't skip a single line. Her manipulation tactics, threats to blackmail in turn Hehuan over her internship signature, casual dismissal of coworkers' permanent organ damage, and the quiet bribery offer she pushed on me to take the fall all ring out without filter. Tang scrambles forward, arms outstretched to grab the recorder, desperate to destroy the irrefutable audio proof. 2 police officers step between us immediately, blocking her path and holding her back by the shoulders to stop her from destroying critical evidence. She thrashes against their grip, screaming hysterically, her gentle wellness guru facade gone forever, replaced by raw, unhinged rage. That's doctored audio. She edited every word to frame me. None of this is real, she wails, tears streaming down her face, but no one in the room buys her performance anymore. The family members who'd attacked me minutes prior fall silent, the fury in their expressions fading into heavy, guilty realization they've been manipulated into assaulting an innocent woman entirely thanks to Tang's lies. I set the recorder on the long conference table, then pull my encrypted cloud drive folder up on the conference room projector, one by one pulling up every piece of evidence I've spent days documenting. First comes the time-stamped photos of Tang locking herself inside Sue's office to negotiate kickbacks for the overpriced bottled water. Next, the lab report of her unregulated herbal pills, clearly marked with banned overdose-causing herbal extracts that worsen the heat stroke victims' conditions. Then screenshots of all office staff's group payment records for the 88 yen barrels of water Tang pushed for personal profit. The mid-story reversal strikes hard right as I pull up bank flow records tracking cash transfers from water suppliers straight into Tang's personal private account. Sue stares at the screen, his face turning a sick shade of gray, all loyalty to Tang vanishing the second he sees the scale of their exposed fraud. He'd only agreed to collude with her for side money, never planned to face criminal charges for negligent bodily harm alongside her. Sue shoves Tang hard to the side, stepping forward to face the CEO and police officers without a single glance back at his former lover. This is all her scheme from the start. I only went along because she hounded me nonstop. Every kickback cash transfer was her idea. I never initiated any of this illegal sales racket. Tang whirls around to stare at him in shock, betrayal burning bright in her eyes. Sue Weigwa, how dare you throw me under the bus? You took half every single payout we made. You even told me to push the rooftop sun therapy to boost pill sales. Don't pretend you're a victim here. Your word against mine, and the bank records all go straight to your personal accounts first. Sue snaps, throwing his hands up to distance himself from all blame, listing every illegal act Tang orchestrated one after another for the police to note down. He admits they've been having a long-term extramarital affair, reveals he'd hidden his legal wife and children from the entire office, and confesses Tang bribed new interns to sign false witness statements to frame me for the heat stroke incident days prior. The crowd of injured employees' families gasp loudly as each new detail spills out. One middle-aged father, whose wife remains hospitalized, steps forward, voice shaking with rage. You two traded our co-workers' health for cash, let my wife lie half dead on a rooftop just so you could sell your fake medicine? Tang tries to argue, but every word she says is cut off by Sue's rapid-fire testimony against her. He's fully switched sides, trading her for a lighter penalty during the upcoming official investigation. The police pull out notebooks to document every admission Sue volunteers, marking down fraud, commercial racketeering, workplace coercion, and negligent endangerment as formal preliminary charges. I continue scrolling through the projected evidence files, pulling up photos I'd taken of Lee's 1,000 yuan sun protective jacket Tang stole for her own use, screenshots of Tang threatening Hehuan's internship evaluation to force her into the rooftop sessions, and the regulatory warning letters about her unlicensed herbal pill production. Every document lines up perfectly with Sue's on-the-spot confession, leaving zero room for Tang to deny her crimes. The CEO stands silent at the back of the room, his face pale with shock. He trusted Sue as his college best friend and handed him full control of all company procurement budgets, never once suspecting the man had been running a multi-party grift right under his nose for years. HR senior manager steps forward to inform police they will fully cooperate with all corporate financial audits, turning over every purchase order and expense record linked to Tang's bottled water supplier. Tang's shoulders slump completely, all fight drained out of her now that Sue has abandoned her, and every piece of evidence is laid bare for the whole room to witness. She stops screaming and pleading, standing rigidly in place while police read her preliminary rights aloud, preparing to separate the two suspects for individual formal questioning. The lead police officer turns to address all of us, stating the financial audit team will be brought in immediately to comb 2 full years of procurement records tied to Tang and Sue. Minutes later, a preliminary audit summary is sent to the conference room screen. Their combined illegal kickbacks and fraudulent product sales add up to over 8 million yuan in embezzled funds, a figure serious enough to carry felony criminal sentencing for both parties once the full official audit report is finalized. The police split Tang and Sue into 2 separate meeting rooms to conduct isolated formal statements, each room equipped with recording equipment and corporate audit staff waiting to cross-check financial data. I sat quietly in the lounge outside the conference area, my bruised arms wrapped with simple bandages the office admin had fetched for me, watching everything unfold without a single word of intervention. I'd handed over all my digital evidence copies to law enforcement and HR, my part in this whole incident fully finished. Now all that remained was watching the 2 people who ruined countless lives crumble under their own lies and greed. The CEO paced back and forth beside me, his face ashen, constantly rubbing his temples. He'd never imagined his college buddy would betray him so thoroughly, siphon 8-figure company funds, and endanger dozens of staff for petty side profit. I handed all procurement authority to him out of trust, he muttered to himself, voice heavy with weariness. I never once suspected he'd collude with a new hire to run a scam right under my roof. I didn't offer any comforting words. Trust that's built on blind friendship without regular financial audits always rots eventually, and their collapse was self-inflicted, not something I'd orchestrated out of petty vengeance. My only goal from the start was self-preservation and justice for everyone they'd hurt, not personal retaliation. Half an hour hadn't passed before the building's main entrance erupted in loud, furious shouting. A plain-looking middle-aged woman hauled a thick stack of folders and printed bank statements through the glass door, eyes red and swollen with rage. This was Sue's legal wife, who'd gotten wind of his crimes and secret affair from the police's preliminary inquiry calls to her home number. She marched straight toward the 2 interrogation rooms, ignoring every security staff's attempt to stop her. This was the mid-story twist no one in the room anticipated. She slammed all the paperwork down on the conference table in front of the CEO and police officers, flipping through page after printed bank slip, real estate contract, and private transfer record. Look at all of this. Her voice cracked with years of suppressed grief and anger. All the overtime wages I worked to put him through university. All the money we saved for our kids' college tuition. He had dozens of secret bank accounts, bought 2 apartments registered under Tang's name with stolen company kickbacks, never gave me a cent of extra household support these past 3 years. The printed documents laid every secret bare. Sue had been transferring large kickback installments straight into real estate investments bought for Tang behind his family's back, lying to his wife that his department salary had barely enough to cover basic living costs while he splurged on gifts and property for his office lover. The woman pulled out photos of Tang wearing luxury bags and jewelry Sue purchased with embezzled funds, photos she'd found hidden in his home laptop last night when she'd searched through his personal files after receiving the police notification. Tang, who'd been temporarily escorted out of her interrogation room for a water break, caught sight of the documents spread across the table and instantly froze. She'd spent months acting as if Sue would abandon his family for her permanently, fully believing the properties and cash were a permanent guarantee of their future together. Now all that illusion shattered in a single second. She tried to step forward and argue, but Sue's wife shot her a venomous glare that silenced her instantly. "You dare open your mouth to me?" The woman trembled. "You knew he had a wife and child, still leech off his stolen money, push dangerous fake medicine on innocent working people just to line your own pockets. Both of you deserve to pay for every harm you've caused." Police separated the 3 before a physical fight broke out, moving Sue's wife into a spare office to record her full witness statement and collect all her financial evidence for the official fraud case. Sue, overhearing his wife's accusations through the thin partition wall, completely lost his will to defend himself any longer. When investigators returned to his interrogation room, he signed a full written confession without hesitation, admitting to every act of embezzlement, workplace collusion, and cover-up he'd participated in alongside Tang. Tang, left alone with no one to shield her, refused to sign any confession paperwork for hours, stubbornly claiming all audio recordings and financial documents were fabricated to frame her. HR senior auditor walked in with a complete 2-year audit report printed out, listing every bottled water purchase order, kickback transfer timeline, and pill sales profit split line by line, matching perfectly with Sue's signed confession. Every dollar that flowed into Tang's personal bank accounts was traced back to company procurement budgets she'd manipulated through Sue's authority. Tang's shoulders sagged completely. All her false gentle wellness guru veneer vanished once the unrefutable financial paper trail was laid out before her eyes. She stopped denying the fraud charges, but still tried to shift full blame onto Sue, claiming she'd only followed his orders to sell water and herbal products to survive working in the company. The investigators noted her inconsistent statements as evidence of her unwillingness to take responsibility for her own intentional crimes. While the police finalized the formal charge paperwork for fraud, negligent injury, and commercial racketeering, HR pulled Tang's original job application file and dug deeper into her personal background for further investigation. What they uncovered became the chapter's cliffhanger bombshell. They contacted the university Tang claimed to have graduated from with a professional Chinese medicine family background, only to receive an official school reply stating Tang had dropped out halfway through her general liberal arts degree, had no medical training whatsoever, and had already faced school disciplinary action back in college for scamming her dorm roommates by selling overpriced fake health supplements under the exact ancestral TCM Air lie she'd reused at our company. The school even forwarded archived student complaint records from years prior, detailing how Tang had conned dozens of classmates into buying expensive, useless herbal tonics, manipulating their fear of minor illnesses for personal profit. Her whole public persona was a fully fabricated performance she relied on to exploit vulnerable people for nearly a decade long before stepping foot in our office. All the herbal formula family inheritance stories, all the medical knowledge she'd parroted to manipulate our department staff were complete fabrications with zero factual basis. A member of the audit team brought the university records and old student complaint documents into the conference room, laying them on the table for everyone present to read. Tang caught sight of the papers, and her face turned deathly pale, every last ounce of fight draining from her body. She built her entire livelihood around a decades-long scam, and every layer of her fake identity was now peeled away for all to see. The CEO let out a long, exhausted sigh upon reading the university's official letter. "We hired her based entirely on the false resume and fabricated family medical background she submitted during recruitment," he told HR. "We will file additional legal claims for fraudulent resume submission alongside the existing criminal charges filed with law enforcement." Police notified Tang that the new evidence of her long-running history of consumer fraud would be added to her list of criminal counts, meaning her sentencing would become far more severe once the case went to court. She sat motionless in the chair, staring blankly at the stack of documents that exposed every lie she'd ever told, no more excuses left to offer to anyone in the room. All formal police questioning and corporate audit work wrapped up late that evening. The building gradually quieted down, only HR staff, 2 auditors, and I remained on the 17th floor to sort and archive all case evidence for future court use. The CEO pulled a spare office chair to sit across from me, his expression heavy with remorse, his tone full of genuine guilt. I can't believe our company created such a dangerous working environment, letting Tang's scam run wild for months without anyone supervising procurement or workplace health propaganda. All your medical bills for bruises and lacerations, the cost of your broken work equipment, the emotional distress compensation, HR will fully reimburse every penny, no limits. We've also issued a company-wide public notice clearing your name completely, eliminating every false rumor Tang spread about you. I nodded faintly, but felt no surge of relief or satisfaction. My goal was never to extract compensation from the company. I only wanted the truth to be laid bare for every wronged person. I told him I'd accept the medical reimbursement only for practicality and declined any extra emotional damage settlement funds. Money couldn't erase the trauma of being locked in a freezer to die in my past life, nor erase the beatings I endured at the hands of misled family members this life. Half an hour later, a group of injured employees and their family members walked into the office one by one. Their faces were filled with deep shame, heads hung low as they stepped up to my desk. Lee, who suffered severe heat organ damage and spent nearly a week in intensive care, took the lead to speak, her voice trembling with embarrassment. Chin, we're so sorry. We blindly believed Tang's nonsense, ignored all reasonable judgment, and let her manipulate us into targeting you. We listened to her slander and rushed to hurt you without verifying a single fact. If we questioned her ridiculous sun therapy and refused to buy her overpriced water, none of this disaster would have happened. This is the mid-story twist I didn't anticipate. I prepared for lingering resentment from them, thinking they might still harbor prejudice against me even after all evidence came out. Instead, every victim recognized their own blindness and cowardice in letting Tang control the whole team, and they came together to offer sincere apologies, stating they would never file any civil claims against me for anything related to the rooftop incident. He Huan, the timid intern who was threatened by Tang over her internship certificate, stepped forward too. She handed me a handwritten apology note, admitting she'd witnessed Tang's coercion multiple times, but was too scared to speak up at the time. I was weak and selfish. I stood by and watched you get targeted again and again without saying a word. I've submitted a full witness statement to the police detailing every threat Tang made toward me to help solidify her charges. I took the note gently, telling them I held no grudges. They were ordinary working people trapped under manipulative psychological control, not malicious criminals like Tang and Sue. The real root of all harm was the pair who fabricated lies for profit and endangered human lives for their own gain. We chatted for a short while, sharing how Tang's T-Sim Air gimmick had fooled each of us in different ways and the invisible pressure we all endured in that suffocating office atmosphere. After the conversation, they left one by one, each looking lighter after releasing their accumulated guilt. After everyone departed, I sat alone at my desk to pack personal belongings. The small hidden desk fan I bought at the start of this rebirth, the voice recorders, labeled evidence bags holding Tang's unregulated herbal pills, all the time-stamped photos and audio backups went into my suitcase. The CEO stopped by again to hand me 2 documents. One was a fully approved internal transfer order to the Southern Branch office I'd applied for 2 days prior, with full promotion and salary raise attached. The other was a formal written apology from the corporation's board of directors. You don't have to stay here a single extra day, he said. All formalities can be wrapped up within 24 hours. The branch's housing subsidy and relocation allowance are fully approved for you. We want to make up for all the unfair treatment you suffered here. I glanced at the transfer paperwork, but made a clear decision on the spot. I turned the document back to him. I don't plan to take the branch transfer offer. I've already submitted my resignation letter through the official HR channel this afternoon. This city, this office, all the painful memories tied here are something I don't want to carry with me any longer. The CEO's eyes widened in surprise, trying to persuade me to reconsider, listing all generous benefits the company could provide to retain me, but my mind was made up. This place held 2 lifetimes of trauma for me, one frozen to death in a walk-in freezer, one brutally attacked by misled crowds and framed for serious harm. No amount of salary raises or promotions could erase the psychological scars left behind. I only wanted to cut all ties and start entirely fresh.